Hi folks, nice to see you again. Now, when the time comes for you to buy your first home, especially, the question that normally runs and swims and flies through your head would be not only which property to be looking at, but also which developer we should be looking at, because different developers offer different things, quality. These are some of the things that we often come across when hunting for that very first home. So to answer our questions on which developer we should possibly be focusing our sights on, we have Mr. Shaun Gregorio of iProperty, who will tell us about this new book, Malaysia's Top Property Developers 2011-2012. Now, as I understand it, this is sort of like an exclusive first sneak peek into this book, because this is not actually the final product yet.
That's right, you're being given a very early exclusive look at what will be the final product, but you're right, this is to help people decide not only what property to buy, but importantly, who's the developer behind the property, and what's their status in Malaysia, and how long have they been around, and what sort of buildings are they producing. And this is a first ever publication for Malaysia, where we've collected all of the top property developers across the country and put them in one book. I shouldn't call it a book, it's better than that, it's a publication, to showcase them in a pretty impressive way.
So why is it important for us to know a little bit something about the developer and not just the product that we are buying itself?
Well, I mean, when you buy a property, it's a 10, 20, 30-year investment, isn't it? So you want to make sure that the person who's building that development has a track record, and that they've been around for a while, and you want to make sure that you're buying quality. And that was really what a lot of the developers we work with wanted to get that message out to consumers and to home buyers. They wanted to stamp themselves as being amongst Malaysia's top developers, and when you're buying that property, you're not just buying the property, but you're buying that guarantee, if you like, and that certainty you get with the developer themselves. So that was really the driving force behind iProperty producing this publication. Right, I see. So having said that, I'm sure the developers featured in this publication are those with a certain caliber, and has produced quality products. So what were the criterions that they should have for you to say that yes, this developer deserves to be in this publication? Yeah, I mean, all of these developers have a great track record in Malaysia of producing developments that have been signature developments, or have been very well received publicly, and that's what we looked for. We wanted to produce something that is going to stand the test of time. So we made sure that the developers that are in there have been long-time developers in Malaysia, have a track record of producing quality developments, and particularly some of the developments we've put in here are pretty impressive. So there's certainly a skew toward looking at foreign investment, the Malaysia My Second Home program, of course, and of course local Malaysians who want to buy into these developments. But it is the top 31 developers in the country you can find.
But tell us a little bit more about this, the aim of this book. Who are you targeting the audience to be?
Well, this is an extension. I mean, a lot of these developers obviously do marketing and do promotion, but they wanted a format where they could be a little bit more exclusive. So we worked with them to come up with this idea. And there's also a microsite being produced, and there's a number of other ways we'll promote the book. But this was really geared at saying, I'm in the top 31 developers in the country. I produce quality work, and the target audience is really showcasing what we believe are world-class developers in Malaysia to foreign investors, and the great work that's being done. So we know that there are world-class developers here, so it gives them a chance to showcase that. Certainly to the Malaysia My Second Home audience, which has grown in popularity over recent years, and also locally, really to say that these guys are probably a cut above all of the developers that are out there. So they're the three audiences that this book is geared at targeting, and it'll be distributed right across the region. So this is going to Hong Kong, to Singapore, into Jakarta, and a number of centres across the region to further promote Malaysian developers as well.
So can we assume that from what you've just said there, that the products produced by these developers that are featured in these books are mostly geared towards the high end of the market, and not all the other segments of the market?
It's more skewed at the high end, and that was the idea of this being an exclusive publication. And it's not just about the particular developments that are featured. As you say, it's also about the developers. So, if you're a property developer you know, your brand is really important because your next development normally is going to be as successful as your last one, so you leverage off that. So all of the developers really want to promote their brand as being someone you can trust wherever you happen to buy their development. So it's very much a case of not just promoting the developments themselves, which are featured, but also, you know, saying about a property developer that, you know, I can be trusted, I do good work, and I've been in the industry, and I'm showcasing this, you know, regionally and globally.
Now, what sort of resources and knowledge that is yours that comes from iProperty has gone into producing this book?
Well, I guess, you know, what we do is help our customers, which are property developers and agents, promote their, you know, properties. So, you know, we do everything from obviously our website, which is our core business, but we run property expos. We have a monthly magazine that comes out, and really the message from our property developer customers was they wanted something just a little bit more special than what was currently available. So
not just quite the magazine.
Not just quite the magazine or the website. It's, you know, they wanted to be a bit more exclusive, and this is what was conceived of. So, you know, our expertise is working with our developers and getting them in front of people who hopefully buy more of their product, and we think that this is a pretty unique and pretty special way of doing that.
Well, no, it says here 2011, 2012, so can we expect a similar edition to be published on a yearly basis then?
Yeah, already in the planning, of course.
Already?
The response to this has been really positive. So this will come out toward the end of the year, we'll launch it, and then it'll be distributed early next year. And we hope that, you know, this becomes the centrepiece of, you know, the high watermark, I suppose, that property developers aspire to, and to be featured in this book year on year. And based on the response we've had so far, you know, it's been really positive. So we hope to see this on every coffee table and every boardroom table, and in things like hotels and places where people can pick it up and have a browse. I know I'll definitely be getting a copy from my coffee table at home.
Well, I'm sure that's not going to be a problem for you to aim. But, you know, before we wrap up, so how can people get their hands on the publication?
It'll be available for sale in all of the, you know, major sort of bookstores, and also we'll be distributing it to companies and hotels for their foyers. But the best way to get one is to go down to your bookstore early next year, and you might have to order one because it's not a massive print run that we're doing. It is being held quite exclusively. So if you go down to your bookstore and inquire there, they'll be able to help you out. Or of course you can contact iProperty and we'll point you in the right direction as well. Right.
Now, but once, the final question would be, once you've seen something that you like in this book, is there any way you can follow up from what you've seen with iProperty?
Yeah, so we'll be producing a microsite for the developments in the book. So you'll be able to go online and have a look at that development in more detail, and then obviously contact the developer if you're interested in either purchasing it or having further inquiries.
Well, so it's almost an end-to-end solution. You produce the book, and then you guide the people along all the way to the agents, the property developers themselves.
Well, that's right. That's what we try and be for our property developers, is a full solution provider. So certainly we'll produce the book, but we want to make it as easy as possible for people who see something they like to go online and inquire and hopefully, you know, buy a property from one of these developers.
Well, thanks for making my life a little bit easier with this book, and
my pleasure.
Very best of luck in, you know, I hope this book does well, and I'm sure it will do well.
We hope so too.
Well, that's it from me in the first segment. As usual, in the second and third segment, well, I'm going to be looking at this book, but Lena will be taking you around, so stay with us on In Realty.